Today is November 12th. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Jamaica Select Board, having been moved from our usual date to accommodate Veterans Day yesterday, and it is 7:01 p.m. First order of business is to call for any late additions to the agenda, and I'm just going to first, we are not obviously voting on the town plan. Instead, number 6 will be to pick a new date for warning a town plan discussion and adoption. Any other late additions to the agenda? Okay. With that, I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 27th regular meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Yeah.
Kate.
We kind of both did
They
it
both
at the same
did.
time.
You choose a twin, yeah. It's a you pick. Any changes, discussion? Nope, seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Yeah, that's great. So actually, I'm gonna ask,
I saw that time.
yeah, just a super
Let me
quick,
put on my different hat.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I finished, it's done. So
Okay,
basically I came in last Tuesday, installed the new, security device, network device. We had a problem with the Patriot system connecting, but I corrected that.
okay.
And we were up and running. Oh, that was actually came in Monday. No, it was Tuesday, but I don't remember now. It came in Monday, did it, and then Tuesday, it was up on Tuesday by about noon, we had that up and running, so.
Okay,
We could use some cables, like Cat6 cables, there's a lot
Okay.
of old wiring in the building.
I was just gonna say, what did that expose
I did
for
have
you?
some problems getting the system up just because of older infrastructure.
Okay,
I worked around it, but we probably could use to buy some some Cat6 patch cables, just to see if I could get things up a little.
and that was really it? That was all that was revealed to you that you would
Yeah.
want kind of on a
Yeah,
priority
I think
basis?
the system now is in good shape, yeah, and it's
Okay.
great. We did have the internet go down today, but it was a Comcast issue,
Okay,
so it wasn't
Okay.
installed, I could get it in, that's it.
all right.
So, but it's successful, I mean, it's.
So we
did
have
everything.
budget for
Okay,
cable, so I
yeah,
would, yeah.
I'll order them this week or
Yeah.
next week then and try to upgrade, I mean, it's minor stuff. One thing that came is that the server needs to be upgraded. The server hardware was upgraded, but the server
itself
software
was not, and you
so
raised that.
really, that's really something that needs to happen.
So that's,
And I'm not
for
doing
us to discuss, that's, right, that's, a third-party provider. So, when we retained Sam some time ago, he did literally upgrade the server, the actual physical hardware, but all of the environment that sits on it, the non-tangible elements of the operating system were not upgraded. And that has been causing a ripple effect somewhat, not with Patriot, I thought with
reliability, as I've
right.
been getting into my new job, I see
Right.
some stuff isn't always reliable and I can't
Right.
explain it, and I think it has to do with older operating system.
Right. So, we just, again, this is probably within the budget that we have today, but,
One thing with that though, I mean, there's coordination there because that server's used for NEMAR, that
Mhm.
server's used for Patriot,
right,
and it's integrated in with it. So whoever's upgrading that will need to contact these other entities and
Right.
say, I'm upgrading the server, we need to figure out what's
Right.
compatible. And I could do some of that legwork.
is it what is it? What is it?
No,
Don't even
it's
know.
Escalade, I think.
Okay,
But it's, yeah, so like when you scan something to Nemrick, it goes to the server.
Right.
And it scrapes it off the server.
right,
And if you don't have
And the
if you
same
don't
for
have, like I
Patriot.
didn't have a mapping on the server today, and so it didn't work, and then the map didn't work. With the Patriot, it goes to the server, the application goes to the server goes up to Patriot.
To
pulls
Patriot's
the data down
office.
to the server, and then sends
Right.
it back to the
through
cloud. So
to
it's
the
not-
cloud, it's going to
Yes,
the
but it's
cloud,
going through the server.
but it's
not a
still, when
direct-
it comes
it's not a direct
in,
connect, right?
the server is the gatekeeper.
That's correct. So those are things that you'd have to work with somebody, would have to work with those
Okay,
companies to make sure that whatever we're upgrading to
right.
is compatible, and then they would have to probably get help configuring it.
Do you think we should reach out for Sam for that? Is he,
Give me John can call him.
okay,
I can call him talking about it.
okay.
So,
Because we have, my firm has a provider in Manchester, but I mean, we could,
Why don't you get me names and I'll call around
Okay.
and see if they're interested. Yeah.
And if anybody else has names for third-party providers that do that kind of
And
software.
then we
upgrade.
put that out to bid again? I mean, I guess that portion
Here's the
probably
thing,
is,
that
would be
discrete
significant.
project is
Yeah.
probably lower than the threshold. It may or may not be lower
Right,
than
right.
the threshold for a bid. But
But we
I
still
just
have to
think as a
bid.
practical matter, why not, if Tom's here, he could,
Well,
vet the
guide
names
guide
and-
it through, yeah.
right, but also just contact them and get a quote.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's sort of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
a sealed formal bid, just.
No,
get
but
three
at
bids.
least, yeah,
But it's with-
exactly.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be RFP, but depending on the monetary threshold, it would require 3 bids if we can get 3 bids. So,
Yeah,
but we don't necessarily have to publish it, yeah.
I can call them,
Okay.
like I said. I
Okay.
can talk.
I'll give you, I have
can
2
talk,
names.
Talk, so I'll talk.
Right.
And say what it is.
And then, Sam, we can, he's local and, he's done, he's the one who upgraded the actual physical servers. Okay,
But no major issues, and I think, like I said, the network's, once we get that server upgraded, it'll be stable.
okay.
I'm confident with that. Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be
If you want to rewire the whole building, that's probably not, but it,
Right. Well, we can talk about that for next year.
Maybe.
Yeah. Great. So the next order of business was to discuss a date for an information session and vote to close and to potentially to close and to buy back the Jamaica Village School. So what I wanted to just raise tonight, again, this is going to be an ongoing discussion. I don't know that we'll pick a date today. And just, she's not here, but a citizen who was at the last meeting was expressing concern about kind of pulling the trigger on a vote too soon. The concern that I have, and I'd like anybody else to raise their concerns, is that the legislature is scheduled to discuss this in the next session, which begins in the middle of January. And in addition, the committee that is reviewing and potentially coming up with a recommendation for the legislature has been meeting. The latest that I saw, and anybody else who has something to add can, correct me or add nuance, but it looks like the holy grail we're waiting for is a map, right? A map that's going to show the new districts. And that is what's going to really give us a sense as a town, whether there's any circumstance, even though I feel pretty confident they're comfortable there's not, but is pie in the sky potential to have the school utilized as a lower school, depending on the map of the district. So there were maps that were kind of thrown out at the high school level and hinted at, middle and lower school level. And then at the last meeting, it looked like maybe they're not pushing a map to the legislature, which I was like, is that even an option? But did you heard about that?
I heard that what they suggested didn't work out, but
Right.
I didn't see the meeting.
Right. So the only map that I saw that they actually kind of published for consideration was one that was not the actual school districts, but it was the six districts that would be kind of how the state would look at. It's like the top level. I'm seeing faces, some nodding, some furrowed brows, but there was one map, but it was not actually a school district map. It was like a school board, like a board map. And I forget the acronym.
But not a supervisory union.
No,
Yeah.
all of that goes away.
Yeah.
That's gone. So it's instead the 6 heads of the so the state is going to be working with a much smaller group of people, that actually have intimate responsibility for the school districts. So Jamaica fell in the I forget what it was called, but the southeastern district. So we were from the center. We're at the center line to the east, as opposed to the west towards Bennington County. So we're with Windsor, what I think of as Windsor. That. So let's see. Do we have Vermont now? Here. Yes, right here. So if you sort of think of this half of the state split in two, we're on this side, we're here. And it's a different feel. We're cut off from a lot of towns that share a lot of our complexion, but with others that do. The unfortunate thing for me is that it feels like we're not gonna get a lot of insight into a direction before it goes into the legislative session. So instead, the work's gonna actually happen in legislative session, even though it seemed like that wasn't the intention. The intention was that this smaller board of people who are very close to the districts would come up with something truly directional for the legislature. And it, at least as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's happening. We still have, 2 months or so before, so they're not totally giving up, but as of the last meeting, it seemed like they were leaning towards not publishing maps for the legislature, which I was like, wait, how does that work?
Yeah.
So, what I take away from that for a town like Jamaica facing a vote on whether or not to take affirmative action to keep the property, to retain the property, versus kind of leaving it out there in the unlikely event that whatever this change is, they would want to use Jamaica Village School.
It doesn't seem like on any of the things that they came up with about it was in play for any of them, and we don't know, but
Right.
at least from
Both-
what I'm understanding.
Both before the new law
Yeah.
and during the course of discussions thus
Yeah.
far. I would agree with that entirely.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say. I would feel strongly about not waiting, past the annual our town meeting. I'd like this vote to happen before town meeting, because the longer in the tooth the discussion at the state level goes, the greater the risk that legislation passes, and we lose our window to actually retain that property. That's the truly scary thing for me.
It's going on the table in the January session.
January.
So
January.
as early as January.
Yeah, except it's got to go all through committee.
Right.
So I think we're really looking at the earliest is what I understand is not long after town meeting.
Yeah.
Now that was assuming this committee actually came out with something relatively concrete that the legislature could chew on. And they may still. We have a couple months. It could happen. I know a lot of people were very unhappy with the last meeting and the fact that maps were not,
Right.
actually being considered. So I'm still where I was before the last select board meeting. That we want to get this done. It's a 30-day warning period for the vote. The info session would happen within that, probably about 10 days before the vote. And it's, we are, also the other risk that I have in the back of my mind, because I'm a worry board, is that right now, the school district as it exists has instructed us that anytime we're ready, they'll pull the plug and ask us formally to call a vote to close the school. They're open for that, but if something changes, then we have to be in a fight with the school board to do that. That step is integral to us being able to vote. So we have that right now. So anytime I can reach out to Drew Hazelton and Bob Tebow, and they'll put it on the next school board meeting, and they'll instruct us to call a vote.
Is there a petition? We need a petition, or you guys just decide?
No, the school board just asks us to please, they give us the resolution, and the resolution, Tom, would be the resolution to close the school. We would add to that, if the town vote is to close the school, yes or no, buy it back for $1. So that's what we add, and then, you'll become very familiar in that process with, Australian ballot vote here. So, I think that's where I am. There's, I don't think we should wait past, December, early December before the holidays as a board to make the decision.
Yeah, because that's 40 days we really need,
Right,
so.
right.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get a little bit more insight from this committee, but not a lot. We're gonna probably be, so I think we should talk to people, anybody, this is a discussion item. I'd like to open it for discussion. Anybody in the audience, if you wanted to make a comment or ask a question? Paul? No? Yes, please.
Just because I'm totally unfamiliar
Oh.
about the relationship between the town, the select board, and the school
Board, school board, yep.
So if the town buys back the school building, what would the town do with it? Or like, what are some options?
Right.
of-
No, that's an excellent question. So, under the current regime by which the school board owns that property, which is 5 acres, it's the building and 5 and change acres, does allow the school board to ask the town to close it because they're not using it, right? And they don't want to be carrying it on their budget, et cetera, et cetera. So for example, right now, because the last vote was don't close it, they don't really have a use for it. So they put a pre-K, there's pre-K in it, and they drag people up from Townsend and Newfane for periodic meetings so that they are using the building for certain meetings. I mean, that's basically the use of the building now. It's underutilized. We, as a select board, met with the head of operations for the school district for the West. It's not just West River Unified Education District; it's a whole district with the Wyndham district that it sits in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to kind of walk us through the building, and we also had some citizens join. One of whom is a builder. Greg was there, etc. And there's really, we have a number of options, right? We can, once we take it back, we could sell it. We could repurpose it for use by the town. Again, not espousing anything in particular, but one idea that's been bandied about is actually moving the operations that are in this building and the operations that are in the library and moving them to that plant, and then either repurposing these properties or selling them, which we are entitled to do as a town. Sell it to a developer, not use it. So it's like the whole range from
Puts us in the driver's seat.
right. It's the town in the driver's seat. It could be a community. It could be anywhere from a community center to housing.
Gotcha. Okay.
And what we did learn from our walkthrough is it really is a pretty reasonable expense for us. There's a little bit of work that should be done right away, which we could accomplish relatively easily with volunteer work and cosmetic.
Not any big.
There's a window that needs to be replaced. The window's there, it just hasn't been popped in. Like that, clean the curtains, paint, exterior paint. None of the infrastructure needs anything immediate. And then of course you're paying the carrying cost. But it's a triple zone, so there's 3 zones. If you want to use for the first year, we wanted to use just 1 zone. We could shut down the other 2.
Okay.
And not heat or use HVAC. And of course the exterior is a playground and a bike park, so that,
I didn't even know about that.
go behind it, it's really cool actually, and it's really cool, and there's longer term plans by the organization that's been very involved in the bike park
Right.
to augment it. So that's really, and the information session is gonna kind of go into all of that in more detail.
Right.
But no, we really would not make any decisions right away.
Yeah.
We would want it very much to be a community discussion.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay, So it's gonna, what I'd like to do, guys, is actually put it on, formally on a vote on the agenda for the next meeting. And I'll circulate some dates and, discuss it with Tom and Sarah too, all right? Okay.
A vote for the informational meeting.
Yes, to say we're gonna request it and dates for an info session and a vote.
Got it.
Okay, so that takes us to SeVEDS.
That's us.
Yes.
So I'm Meg Stalloff, this is my colleague Jack Spanneman. He was actually at town meeting last year, so he
Yes.
was along with me, and I came and spoke to you last year, but I see some new
Yes.
faces. So we come around every year, we make a funding request that has been petitioned for, so should be in your warning, but we'd like to just come give an update on why we ask for funding from towns and what we do with that and the programs that we're running. So basically, SeVEDS is a nonprofit organization that sort of looks at regional economic development. It has a board and its own budget, but it has no staff. So when BPCC staff show up we kind of run the programs that SeVEDS is the engine that sort of creates, and the town funding helps support the programming that we do. So what is that programming? We do workforce programming. Jack is going to talk a little bit about that because that's what he does. We do community development programming, which is what I do, so I can talk a little more about that. Part of our workforce development is working in schools. So we're in Leland and Gray, we're in the Career Center, we're in Twin Valley, both students will get over there, but VIII. So where those students are getting career education, career pathways education, finding out about jobs and kind of some of the stuff like we would say that you would learn in home ec class back in the day, sort of, we do a big Heroes Futures Fair, which is really about different careers, then we do a reality fair where the kids sort of learn a little bit about a budget and what are some adulting skills. So that's some work we do for workforce development. Jack can talk more about some of his stuff. The stuff that I do is I can give you guys, this is probably just came in your email again, but I'm doing this, I'm doing municipal leader network events for towns. I think we had one where we talked about town buildings and there was sort of a little group of people talking about schools. Since there's a lot of people that are towns that are looking at, so you could, Brookline, Wyndham, Athens, there's a lot of smaller school buildings out there, so we should just get a little confab going of where people are in different stages of that. So we're trying to get people together in rooms to just talk about municipal stuff. So this, we're going to talk about economic development. So if anyone wants to come, I can leave you these. This is Tuesday, December 2nd. And this will be down in Wilmington.
You usually leave some that we put out.
Yeah,
right?
this is really just for municipal leaders, so this is really
Okay.
for you
Oh,
guys.
okay. Did you bring in annual reports?
I do have annual reports.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we have annual
Yeah,
reports.
people,
We have a few of
people
those.
took them. So,
Oh, yeah, we have some annual
great.
reports.
Thank
Look
you.
at the new one.
Thank you.
So I do that work, and so some of the work I do is just helping build capacity at the town level to sort of do those projects. And like if we're talking about housing, how do you do that? So someone might want to come to this and learn more about CHIP, which is the Community Housing Infrastructure Program, which helps support developing infrastructure where you can get money from the state or in tax, based on the future tax value of that property
Right.
to help offset pre-development costs needed to make housing development possible.
Right.
So that might be interesting to somebody. Jessica Harlan, who helped design the rules for that program, is coming.
Right.
She lives in Bennington, which is great, so she's gonna come do a deep dive into how would you do that? What does that look like? And so that's some of the work that I do. And then we also do business support, of course. That's sort of our traditional economic development work where we have a great business team that supports business development. So from people who are looking to retire and thinking how to transition out of their business, or we helped Putney Winery become a co-op last year, for example. So now it's owned by the employees, so that allowed the owners to step away while keeping those jobs in that business alive in the community. So we do that. I've got a great startup idea. We I've supported a couple businesses in Jamaica in the past year with lending, so we offer lending for startup businesses that comes with technical assistance to help them do a great job with that. So one of the businesses in Jamaica that we have right now came and did our Launchpad cohort and then became a lending client. And so that's what we like to see, is people like doing great things. So that's the work we do. It's business, it's community, it's workforce. Jack, do you want to talk a little bit about your work?
I'm sure you touched a lot of those points, I think. But yeah, so my world is kind of in workforce development, and what that looks like for me is, we have some distinct audiences, right? So we have general adults, off the street looking to upskill or maybe change careers, as well as high school students, like Meg mentioned. We're in all of Windham County high schools. So every kid receiving education here should, in theory, be running into our colleague who's in the high schools 100% of her time, delivering, like Meg said, soft skill development, career, exposure, all that great stuff. And also, and the last kind of distinct audience of ours in our kind of workforce development world is New Americans. So we work a lot with the refugees in the Brattleboro area, as well as actually in Springfield and Bennington, but that's not really relevant here necessarily. But yeah, so that's kind of wrapping up our role in kind of refugee employment services is wrapping up. However, we're still supporting lots of folks in our community that are looking, same thing, upskill, looking to change careers, looking to get into a better career, more high paying, high wage, all that stuff. And so just for a couple of examples of those classes, right now we're actually in the midst of, it's funny, you were talking about IT stuff, we're doing a digital literacy, digital skills class right now, and that's for just general adults, and we've also partnered with Vermont Adult Learning and do a lot of great offerings, those digital literacy offerings that are a little bit more foundational for a general audience, as well as a English language learning supported New American audience as well. We've done programs in healthcare, so healthcare, like kind of career exposure classes. Really, what the idea there is, there's one program at the Windham Regional Career Center. It's an LNA program, so licensed nursing assistant, that has a lot of good traction and publicity. And hey, if people want to do that, that's an awesome track for them. But we want to just make sure that that's, not the only track that they know about. There's a lot of great opportunities in healthcare. We kind of like to say, whether you hate patients, love science, all this stuff. Like, healthcare is a huge ecosystem. So that's just an example there. We've done it with both adult audiences as well as New American audiences. We've also done some programming in CDL. So we try to select programs, in industries that are high wage, high growth, high demand, and that's our community right there. So we've done programs again. We actually did a pilot program with some students from Leland and Gray, as well as Bells Falls, I think it was. This summer we did like a pilot CDL boot camp, and the kids learn all about CDL, how to get the funding, because there's some misconceptions that, it is expensive, that's a fact, but there are plenty of resources through the state, through VSAC, and other educational, that they can make it accessible and potentially not have to pay a penny for all that stuff if that's the track.
We're like literally every town road crew.
Yeah, right, just waiting.
Exactly. And that's the issue we've had. We had a couple of our kids that we work with, they just weren't 18 yet, so they couldn't actually take the permit test, but they wanted to. So anyway, so there's definitely some, there's a pocket there, or a pool of potential, there's folks that want to stay here, want to learn, want to, work. So we work with kind of, like Meg said, kind of regarding business, we work with folks in the workforce world all over the map, right? Young kids, older folks, people looking to stay here and navigate their way. So we do a lot of cool stuff in the name of economic development. So I will stop there. I kind of rambled a little bit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so we do go out and ask for the municipal funding that comes to SeVEDS. Why do we do that? How does that work for us? What happens is, for example, the program that I run is funded by a federal grant that requires a one-to-one match, right? So we take sort of a portion of maybe some of that town funding, and we basically double it through getting that federal funding to keep that program running. So at the beginning, there wasn't funding for workforce programs, and that's really the genesis of our town funding request, was to help us get this workforce stuff started. Now those programs are funded in a lot of different ways, but then there's always another program coming down the pike that's like, we really need to be working on this. There's no money for it. If we can sort of get a piece of that funding through a grant, and then we can have the municipal funding. So some years SeVEDS has, money left over, some years it doesn't. It just depends on how much of that municipal funding is getting put on the ground this year. But it allows us to just keep programs running, or if we don't get a grant, the federal funding landscape has suddenly changed drastically this year. It gives us a way to know that we can keep doing our good work. So that's why we come and ask you. We thank you for your past support.
And one thing I'll add, just really briefly, is it's also very flexible. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but so a great example of that is in 2023, after the great floods that we experienced, I was actually able, because of this flexible SeVEDS funding with kind of like no strings attached, or fewer, I should say, I was able to actually be on the ground and go to Weston, come to Jamaica, go to Londonderry and actually meet with businesses, figure out what they needed, have them fill out 211 and just make sure they were connected to the resources. So that allowed me to actually kind of pivot my role, come here and be on the ground. So that's just a very real example of that.
Remember it well. Yeah.
Yeah. So we thank you.
Is it too early or have you already formally submitted the request?
We have already submitted it.
Oh, okay.
So it should be somewhere. I can send it again. We send them in the summer.
We probably, Sarah usually keeps those for.
I can resend it.
Why don't you resend it? Just resend
and
it.
I'll take a look
I'll
at it.
resend it. And it's something we have petitioned in the past, so,
Yeah.
and I do have ready for you guys a town impact report that can go in that annual report. I just do them for all the towns.
Oh, you have that now?
And I plug the numbers into it. I just have to make a couple of edits to it because I realize my
true.
school numbers might be not quite up to date,
Okay.
included in there. So I'm gonna double check the school numbers or just be less specific and send it over. But
Right.
those are ready. I'm working
Well,
on
it's
it,
great.
so-
That would be,
Yeah.
that would be the first part of the town report that we would
I
have.
tried. I know, but I'm creeping it back every year because some people want that.
Oh
really
my
early, and I
God,
was
as
like,
early as you can.
I know, Wendell was like, we
Absolutely.
need it by the 14th, and I was like, okay, well, I want that. So you're in the first part of the alphabet. So
Beth is a little
I did-
strict, huh?
I started yours today because you're in the first alphabet tranche, so
Right.
it should be, I'll
Okay.
get that to you and the funding request, and it just explains it.
Yeah,
And
great.
it's something we have petitioned for in the past, and we got the signatures that I was in, so then I think once it's been petitioned for, as long as we don't change the amount,
Right, it's, yeah.
we're fine, so that's.
And our request is the same as last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's based on the update, you were at the 2020 census level,
Okay.
so we're doing that
Awesome.
for most towns, so, yeah,
All right.
great.
Well, thank you. Thank you for
Yes,
coming.
thank you.
And
You're invited to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we would not be offended if you don't.
thank you.
Um,
Sneak out.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Drive through the darkness.
Yeah, just, interesting road conditions.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad. So the next order of business is that Greg will take us through opening the bids for the West Jamaica Road Stream Bank Stabilization. There's a
We've
couple
got the,
spots.
item 6, the town plan.
Oh my gosh, sorry, the
That's
date for
okay.
the new town plan. I do that probably every meeting.
Just recently.
So, we do need to pick a new date. It's a 15-day warning, so,
It puts us, if we do it, similar concept as prior to our select board meeting, it would put
Right.
us at the December 8th meeting.
yeah.
Because there's
That's-
not enough time to warn it for our next one.
Yeah, exactly. We'd have to actually do it on a different date than on our select board date, meeting date, if we wanted to do it sooner.
If we wanted to do it sooner.
I'm
I
fine
think
with
there's
that.
minimal downside to.
Yeah.
to
Oh, good night.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, I think the risk
Yeah, right.
is infinitesimally small.
I would
So-
think we would do it on the same night.
Okay, so then I'll make a motion that we, schedule the, discussion session, info and discussion session for 6 o'clock, December 8th. And, I think I can do one motion for both the discussion and the vote.
No, we have to then vote on
We
it.
vote at the select board, I would put it on the
Select
agenda, I was just gonna say I'd make a motion that we put it on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So, that we hold the discussion at 6 o'clock and that the following regular meeting that will take place at 7 o'clock. On that agenda will include a vote to adopt the town plan.
Second.
Great. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Now we can go to opening the bids for West Jamaica Road, streaming
Okay.
stabilization.
May I ask you a question just on the date?
Yes.
Change, the reason why it was postponed?
So there needs to be a 15-day warning,
Yeah.
and we did vote to have it today. But because of transition that's happening in staff in the town office, the hearing was not posted.
We didn't get it
We
warned in
didn't get
time.
it posted. It actually, it's not just the same as the way we post agendas, but I'm glad if it brought you in.
Well, that's what I came for.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, and you got to attend a full regular meeting, so I appreciate that.
Is there a phone number to reach someone that I could call to find out if it's canceled or postponed?
You can always call the clerk, you call me,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
874-4681,
It's the town office,
town office.
yeah.
And Sarah and I will be here and we'll let you know
Yes.
if it's canceled.
So I apologize, but I'm glad you came and heard a full meeting.
Yeah, it was just a technical thing, that we didn't get it warned in time. So.
Yes, exactly. Now, do you have a copy of the?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. And do you also?
Is it online though?
Is
It
it
is.
posted?
I don't know.
It is. It's on the
I checked to see if
website.
it's posted.
You wouldn't know. You just started. But yes, it's on the website. If you have any trouble finding it, call the office.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll check and make sure it's up there, I'm sure it is.
yeah.
I know there's a.
Did you have anything that you wanted to discuss or a concern to raise? Because that would be appreciated if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, yeah, I do have concerns about a portion of the town plan.
Okay, please.
And that actually ties in with the zoning, the rural resource area on the map that's shown.
So it's, land use designation as opposed to zoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have extremely limited zoning, in other words, zoning bylaws that would be promulgated by the town. We only regulate the floodway. We have no other zoning, virtually no other, we have a sign ordinance, but that's not even considered zoning. We do not, land use by and large is governed by Act 250, so it's handled at the state level for properties in Jamaica.
And so those are suggested land use, maybe suggested is not the right word, I can't remember the word that's used in there, but it's how we,
What we view as the best
use
usage.
for those
Right,
resources,
right. Right.
Yeah, so I had concerns in reference to the way that it's outlined in the closeness of the rural resource area to Forester Pond. There's a
To
gravel-
which, sorry?
To Forester Pond,
Forester Pond?
yeah,
Okay.
which is owned by Green Mountain Land Development and Gravel Company. And that pond, probably you're already aware of it, that's a spring-fed pond.
Mm-hmm.
And if Green Mountain Land Development and Gravel Company, they've already excavated pretty close to the pond and hit some springs. That's a spring-fed pond. If they continue to dig around there, there's a potential that they could, cause a change to the pond. That's my concern.
Right. So what would be interesting there is their operation, I believe, is subject to Act 250. So they own and operate, it has to be because,
Well, yeah,
commercial, right. So,
and they were supposed to get a permit for it.
well, they have to have, they can't be operating there without a permit. So did you go?
They tried to grandfather it. It's really not grandfather. It was a judicial,
A JO.
JO,
Right.
that said that they need to have a permit.
Right.
for operation.
So, just for my education, because I'm not aware, is it your understanding that they're operating in contravention of that JO?
Well, they are operating and they applied for a permit to actually reclaim and close the pier a while back.
Oh, so they filed an Act 250 permit?
Yeah,
Okay,
but now since the governor, I guess, has changed things to allow people to reopen gravel pits, they've basically it's been reopened, even though they were supposed to reclaim it and close it years ago.
I thought that was part of the emergency order after the flooding, but then
Yeah.
it was kind of,
that was
closed.
temporal. Yeah.
It was temporary, but I'm not an expert on
I
that
think it's
either.
still open.
Okay,
So they're continuing operations, that's my concern, I've seen what they're doing, what's happening, and, I just have concern about the.
it's a legitimate concern, I mean, it sounds like.
Absolutely,
you should have some-
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
And
sorry,
then,
I'm sorry, where is that pond?
it's right on the map, it's.
Forester Road,
Way out.
going
Is
up
it
toward
off
Stratton, West
Oh,
Jamaica.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's listed, in the town plan, it mentions a couple things about it, and I was just curious. It mentions the date of 2022. Says it's included in the Vermont's 2022 list of priority surface waters, Part B. I was just wondering, is 2022 like the last record of it, or is it, and how often do they update that record?
I don't
I
know.
wouldn't know,
that
that's-
either.
yeah. So just, the town plan is actually, handled by the Jamaica Planning Commission.
Yeah, and I can send them an email.
So those, yeah, because especially Chris Robbins, I mean, he takes a lead on that, but they all are involved.
Okay.
And there's a pretty significant depth of knowledge. Now, it's a big document. Someone might need to do a little digging, but, regardless, if there are operations in contravention of either the post-2023 flood, exemption, and or an Act 250 permit, that independent of the town plan,
Yeah.
that has to be looked at and addressed.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the name of the company? Not the
It's Green Mountain Land Development and Gravel Company. Mike Fitzpatrick and Jeffrey Fitzpatrick.
Oh. Okay. All right. Anything else that you wanted to raise that kind of came to mind?
That's the main thing, I said was about the pond,
Okay.
where things might lead to eventually.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so now we will move to opening the bids for the stream bank stabilization projects, and it's like 2 or 3 separate projects on West Jamaica.
So we've
location.
lumped them, it's actually 2 different sites, but they're
Yeah.
all within 50 feet of each other.
Okay.
So we put them
We did it in
together
one.
as
Okay.
one bid. These were 2 sites that possibly had initial damage during the flooding, but they continued to worsen and so needed repair, and we've got a permit because of the public safety issues that are right along the road, so we're able to do the work now, even though we're past the work in the stream time period. The work was proposed to be done from the roadbed so that they wouldn't need to get in the stream, so we've got 4 bids here. I will open, the first one here is from A.S. Clark. And so the first one, restoration of 2 sections of stream bank along West Jamaica Road with stacked toe riprap, as approved by Scott Jensen, Vermont Stream Engineer, completed by 12/6, bid of $39,000 from A.S. Clark. Tom, do you wanna take you're gonna summarize these, so if I forget which one is
39,000.
39,000
39,000 done by
A.S. Clark.
12/4. I got there. Yeah. 12/14.
Well, we put a deadline
that's
in
part
the
of it.
RFP of completing it by,
AS Clark 39,000. I have it on here.
yep, okay. Next one is Hunter Excavating. Proposal, work to include restoration of 2 sections of approximately 50 feet each along West Jamaica Road. Armoring a bank consists of keying and 4-foot riprap from the edge of the river to the height of the roadbed. 14,300. The next one is from, Amidon Construction, armoring bank of 2 50-foot sections of West Jamaica Road, 36,000.
Is it, I'm sorry,
There'll be what?
are there any more?
There's one more.
Okay.
Yep. So that is with here. What's this, final one here is from Fitzpatrick Excavating. The total here, same job description, 4-foot king riprap, 23,435. So, if I need to put all these in front of me again.
And they're pretty much saying they'll do the same thing?
They're all the same things as described in the RFP.
Mhm.
And do we have the funds already in the bank for this one?
We do, so this is actually, we received some mitigation monies that was beyond the proposed mitigation from FEMA. We are allowed to keep that money, we just have to spend it for mitigation or flood-related issues. I mean, so this, and we're allowed to expend it across the town, it doesn't have to be specific to the roads that it was approved on. Which is, kind of sounds odd to me, but I've asked that over and over.
Over and over. They say,
again.
it's
And
okay,
they
you
said
can
it's
do
okay.
it.
So we do have this money, so that's wonderful, and this work is obviously needed. And I'm missing one of these here, let's say this part. There's 4, yep, okay, so 39, 36, 32. I will make a motion to accept the bid from Hunter Excavating for $14,300.
Second.
And that's definitely for both jobs, right?
Both jobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, just
I know.
clarify.
Two sections of approximately 50 feet each, and they literally are probably only 50 feet apart, so they're very, very, very close together, so that's, that's good. Any further discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. All right, unanimous.
All right, thank you for that. The next order of business is similar exercise, open and review bids for the demolition of the small home located at 30 Water Street, which the town was able to purchase from the current owners after its significant deterioration in the 2023 flood by virtue of federal funds that were passed to the state and earmarked, and we closed a week ago.
About a week
today.
ago,
Yeah.
It's recorded too, that they did recorded.
It did, I know, but we need
The
to
tenth,
send,
but I know, I
Right.
can get that, I'm
don't worry about it. It's just that Nick can't issue the title policy without.
I'll talk about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
Yeah, so this was
Oh,
through, we received a grant to fund this project, through, it's called the, build it, like the Flood Resilient Communities Fund. So basically, it's meant to remove building structures, things like that, that may cause future damage by going down the river or something like that. This did sustain damage for sure, and is uninhabitable, there's no septic at this point. So, I will read off, we actually received 5 bids for this. The other portion, just to note, this will not happen until, the actual demolition needs to happen before the end of December, but will not happen before asbestos testing and any necessary mitigation. It's not likely there is, but there always may be. The testing, the samples were taken today. They sample anywhere from 1 to 8 it's whatever the testing company sees as a potential. So we'll know that, and then if it does require mitigation or removal, we would have to put that out to bid, depending on, because it's obviously gonna be an expense.
And as far as we know, would be a different company from all of those that have bid for the demolition. It would be a
Yes, it
specialist.
only can be certified asbestos
Right.
removal companies, so it can't be any of these guys. All right, so the first one is from A.S. Clark and Son, and there is a bid sheet here. I won't read the whole bid sheet, but the bid was set up more so that we're aware that everybody's taking into account each of these items that the grant requires. But we're not gonna nitpick this apart to bid on different pieces. So we're only analyzing, reviewing the bids based on the totals. So A.S. Clark and Son, total for removal of the property, And this also includes stabilizing the property, so it's back to, everything's removed, seeded, grassed, and all that kind of stuff, so. $37,200 for A.S. Clark.
Yeah, the property will be returned to a little park area.
Yeah, it'll be owned by the town we cannot do anything with it. We can put a park there, but we can't build or anything.
Put a bench in.
Small, very small.
It is small, but it's a great spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
swimming right kind of right there too.
Yeah.
It's right, it looks out at River and Rye, yeah, right across from Joel. Yeah. It's the first house on the corner, yeah. Okay.
All right, so the second one here is from Hunter Excavating. Total bid for removal, $16,400. Next one is from Hammond Construction. Total bid, $34,000. Next one here from Fitzpatrick Excavating. Total bid, $16,950. And final one here is from LG Furno Forest Products. They're a company out of Woodbury, Vermont. They've done other demolitions and removal of properties more in the central part of the state. Their bid is $27,830. So based on that, and that everybody is qualified, there are, insurance certificates and all that in here. I will make a motion to accept the bid from Hunter Excavating for $16,400.
Second.
Any further discussion? Ding, 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 ding. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
Terrific. All right, thank you, Greg. Wait for that. All right, now we go to our ordinary course. I'd like to make a motion to approve the timesheets as they've been presented for the staff of the town office, with the listers, staff, highway crew, and transfer station attendant. Thank you.
Who seconded?
Kate. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will, next order of business, make a motion to approve the pay orders as they have been presented.
Second.
Any discussion of the pay orders? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the next item of business is to just hear from the public. Anything you wanna share with us now? Paul, anything today?
Good.
Okay.
We have Margaret on the Zoom.
Yeah,
Oh, Margaret!
Hi, Margaret. Do you have anything?
Hi.
Hi, Margaret!
Hi, thank you for letting me be here. And first I want to say, I appreciated the comments about Forester Pond because I wasn't aware of that. And that is like in my backyard. And my water is spring water. I don't know if that affects, it's uphill from me. So thanks for paying attention to that. The reason I'm back again is because when I was here before, I asked if we could have a speed limit sign on my road and you said yes. And I realized I hadn't specified my desire to have it be 25 miles an hour, not 35. But still there's no sign. And so maybe there's still time to do that.
I guess I can speak to both those. I did talk to Keith about putting up some signage. He was gonna look into, he didn't believe that we had signs currently for that designation for marking the 35 mile an hour, so that we would have to need them, order them. We needed them. I don't know what the outcome of that was. We also had some discussion with Keith and I had about possibly some other traffic calming signs. 35 miles an hour is actually, I mean, I'm not gonna try to argue the point, 35 miles an hour is very, very, very fast for in front of your house across those
Yeah.
two bridges. So we thought that some other signage may be more helpful in addition to the posting of the speed limit. Because some people may say, oh geez, I can go 35, I've always been going 30 through here. So that's a point. To change it to 25 is actually quite a lot, not difficult, but it's a more formal process where we have to do a speed study, we have to change the traffic ordinance to designate that as a different speed lit. Right now, that area, that all of West Jamaica and most of our roads are designated at 35 miles an hour. That's just the status quo, so to speak. Maybe not the status quo, but anything different to that has to be warned and changed in our ordinance with it, which is certainly possible. It's a process. So those are my two comments, but I can certainly follow up with Keith to see what we can do immediately and to see if if we have ordered signs. It's just something I haven't circled back to on.
Okay, I appreciate the feedback, and you're right. If people who have been going 30 see that they can go faster, that's not the desired effect.
Yeah.
So maybe some other help to get people to slow down is a good idea without posting a miles per hour thing. I don't know what those ideas are, but I'm open to anything.
Well, Keith was gonna look into what was available for signage that we could purchase that might make some sense, and let me get back to him, and then I'll circle back to you to say, here are some options we can have, and we can have just this conversation.
So
I appreciate the conversation.
just ordering the signs is actually pretty easy.
Yeah, for
Sarah
sure.
can give you the book time. She usually orders them. It's just a question of what
Yeah,
signs.
and I don't know, I haven't circled back to Keith to know where it's at. Maybe they have been ordered. I don't even know that. Or maybe it slipped his mind.
I don't know.
and
He's
apologize
really
for
like
that.
when we put up new signs, like, and they come into him.
Right.
You know, he's pretty diligent about it. So I would think that the sign has not
They
come
just didn't
yet.
get ordered, right?
But you know, the slow, dense population. There's, you know, you'll see it in the book. And Margaret, we can even run it kind of by you as to what makes sense there. But there are a number of options. But yeah, I echo Greg's point, which is that it's a 60-day warning period. We'd have to do a speed study. It's a multi-step process to change the speed limit.
You think it'd be
You
easy,
think we could just do it,
right?
but no, yeah.
Okay, well, I thank you for your attention to it and for all the work you're doing. All of you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else in the?
Nobody else on?
No,
Zoom?
it's not there, no.
Oh, okay, thank you.
That's what I would check.
All right, so I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, folks who came, really.